How we doing, my friends? Your Florida history hunter, and today we're going to take a tour of the Oakdale Cemetery in DeLand, Florida, where we will visit wizards and dragons. So we are right now sort of midway in the first section, and we started our walk at the administration maintenance building, and we are walking up a ridge here. We're gonna go visit one of the old sections out in here. I call this area the Badlands. For some reason, the grass doesn't grow. It always has a lot of cacti and pricklies and all kinds of weird things going on. So let's take a look at some of these dates here. 1818 to 1885. Edward Keene, an honest man. Here's one for Jacob Cole, 1815 to 1885. Here's one that's like an obelisk. This is for the Reverend David Williams. He was born in 1811 and died in 1888. So there's a lot of stones that are in the style of obelisks and buildings. This one sort of looks like a cathedral right here. And this is a family plot also. The Swift, see Swift? And I see the Gills, but it says Swift on the ground. And this is Clara Powell Swift, who died in 1935 at the age 84 years old. Look at that, there's a beautiful Florida red cedar there, and another one right there. Like somebody planted these two gorgeous red cedar trees as a marker. Right here, this always looks like the Badlands out here too. You can see it, like excessive amount of growth. Here we have a couple small stones, and here's a young child of 3 years old. Samuel B. Wilson Jr., 1904 to 1907. Here's another child that died at the age of 11. Here's one, still has a Christmas wreath on it. It still looks green. Isn't that amazing? He's been laying out here for over a month. And this is, clean off the stone a little bit. Let's see who this is. Veteran for sure. Alan Winters, 1907 to 1974. Major U.S. Army, World War II. So what we're going to do is we're just going to continue up this hill here. And we have some stones facing east. And as we can see, this is east facing. And then up here, we have stones that are facing west. There's a couple that are topped with bronze plaques. Simon Crow and Elizabeth Jane, 1831 to 1935. And then Elizabeth lived to be 100. She was born in 1852 and passed in 1952. Wow. The growth that she saw in this area. 100 years. She was blessed. There's a couple really large slabs. (1899 to 1924). 1868 to 1925, and 1875 to 1972. It's 97 years. And this is Lilla Hart Dutton. This part of the cemetery has a really beautiful tree covered canopy, but it's lost more than 3/4 of the trees in the last 15 years from hurricanes and tornadic activity. A lot of the old trees that were here got broken down by nature. And I find a lot of these Confederate States of America graves all through Florida. Florida was a Confederate state. And you notice that Florida didn't use the X with the stars in it. They had the circle and the 3 stripes. And incidentally, what's considered the Confederate flag isn't even a Confederate flag. There's a misconception in the whole idea that the flag with the X and the stars is Confederate. It was not. There's an old stone right there, Chaplain, U.S. Navy. I'd have to say it's probably from a World War I veteran. Another nice thing I like about this cemetery are the many, many different varieties of camellia flowers that are growing here. As we walk around different parts, we'll stop and look at them. Okay, so here's one beautiful, like red one right there. There's another bush with the red camellia. There's another one right there. As far as I know, that this area we're coming into was originally the first entrance to the cemetery, the original entrance to the cemetery. Here's somebody that had planted trees on both sides of their grave. Another family plot. It's all wrapped in granite. And there's one that's done in brick. Chances are that they were a mason. Remember the masons. McCormick. So I believe like where those people are coming in would have been the entrance, because downtown DeLand's over there, and it would make sense that you would come and approach into the cemetery at a diagonal. There's another bush that you'll find a lot of around here is the azalea, and there may be a couple of 2 or 3 different varieties of azaleas around here also. So this is Bond, and I believe this is the same Bond of, you know, the Bond lumber people. I'm not going to swear 100%, but it makes sense that he was one of the original big money men in this area back in the day. Here's another camellia. I call this one the peppermint one because it's got the get it out in the sun where you can actually see the coloring on it. Kind of reminds me of peppermint candy, red with the white in it. And here's another red one, and you can see the pestilence stemmen inside. Nice looking yellow. And this is different than the other red one we looked at. This one's a little smaller and opens up more like a carnation. Look, here's another red camellia right here. And again, another variety because it's more like a pom-pom in shape. It's kind of fun that, you know, might as well hit this other one too before we head up the next row. And another variety of camellia. And this one is just a beauty. Look how symmetric it looks. And the middle looks like a rosebud. Okay, so we're gonna continue our trip, work our way up the hill. You know, up the hill we go. See another camellia, and this one's a different variety. Also, as we can see, I'm gonna be careful we don't disturb any bees. Like there's a bee in there right now. Actually, that's a wasp or a yellow jacket. Get nice and close. Look at that, gorgeous. It's actually got a tint of blue in it on the edges. You can kind of see the blue on that. Now look at this design here. It's like a scroll for headstones. Now look how elaborate the work is on this They had to chisel this. This had to be chiseled out of the stone that stuck up here. Amazing, amazing stoneworking to do that and to do this. One mistake and you have to start over again. And it's interesting, there's like these little holes and everything. Like what was up with that? What was that for? Was that to keep the stone from breaking as they were chiseling it? I mean, that's intense. That's intense. So let's keep walking up this hill. And look, there's a tombstone that's towering over everything else out here. And so let's gonna work our way up the hill here. Stop right here a moment. It's actually, I need to back up because this is sinking in. Oh, I'm gonna go fall in and end up down at the bottom. Okay, so here's a little bit of irony right here. So here we have Henry John Wilmhurst, 1856 to 1932. Born near Worcester, England, and died at Miami, Florida. And yet he's interred here in DeLand, Florida. And he was Hebrew Jewish by the star there. And literally right across the street, you can call it, there's this strange little zone right here. And in this strange little zone, we're going to walk around the outer perimeters first, like this. So, okay, we've done a little walk around a circle here. And we're going to come back around here. And we're going to stop right here. And this says, Roy L. Cook, 1887 to 1931, a Freemason. Okay, so let's actually pan up to his tombstone. And then this is where the irony is, because look at this. KKK. And this was the Grand Dragon, or what a grand whatever, something dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. And in this part of Florida, the Klan was very active in the 1800s and early 1900s, and was still seeing activity at the end of the 1900s into the 2000s. And so this is the most defaced grave site. In fact, I think it's the only one that's ever been defaced. And so this is the dragon part of our tour. Remember, our tour is Wizard and Dragon. Okay, so let's continue on our tour. We're gonna kind of meander around. And I gotta pop off this joke for these people that are familiar with the movie. That's Quigley Down Under. I think, who was in that? Tom Selleck? Possibly. Plays an American that goes to Australia in the 1800s. Under the assumption that he's being hired to shoot and kill animals that are attacking cattle or sheep or something, and when he gets there he finds out that they're actually shooting indigenous peoples, and he didn't like that at all. We'll take a stop here because this is a tribute to the Confederate veterans in DeLand Cemetery. And there's an entire list of everybody that was a Confederate veteran. Oh, let's take a look. Here we have another variety of camellia, and this is a pink camellia, one of the many varieties of pinks. And this one over here is another variety of the one that I call the peppermint one, which only gets just these white spots on every leaf or every petal. Okay, so now we're going to take the tour and head down to the low half of the cemetery. Coming off of the ridge or out of the oak hammock, and we're working our way down the ridge. I actually live on the other end of the ridge where it's back up to the high part of the ridge. And I find it easier walking in the grass. So we're going to do a ziggy-zaggy. We're in an area right here where the graves are from the 1800s into the late 1900s. There may even be a couple into the 2000s out in here too. There's a lot that are broken, but you know, we've had hurricanes and tornadoes come through here. What's this one? Both 1922. And they said died at Volusia. And Volusia was actually up where Astor is. But I guess they're referring, they died in Volusia County. Alright, so there's a little bit of a hill right here. Kind of weird, like there's one hump of the excuse me, one hump of the hill. Got sun in my eyes that makes me sneeze. Here's one we'll stop. Thomas Howard Payne, infant, 1948. So we're gonna work our way up this small hill right here. In case you're just joining us, this is your Florida History Hunter, and we're walking around the Oakdale Cemetery, DeLand, Florida. Oh, here's an interesting one. Downtown businessman in the founding days of DeLand, department store owner. Here's another one. It's like an obelisk, but a biggie. It's a big chunk of stone. Just don't take that for granted. What I wanted to do is I wanted to come over here, and we're going to take a look at this tombstone that's shaped like a tree. And you'll see these in a lot of places. And these are the graves of the Woodmen of the World group. And that's quite an accomplishment. But that was carved out of one piece of stone. Again, you know, somebody drew out a design, and the stoneworker had to chisel this sucker out. Can you imagine working on this right here, and you go to hit a detail and that broke off? The job's ruined, and one would have to start. Oh, I mean, look at the delicacy in that lily. But you can also see that it's starting to erode. It's getting pitting in it. The thinner workings, and that's just erosion from rain and wind. Okay, so we're just going to do a slower 360 pan. We're kind of on top of this hill. There's our 2 cedar trees, run there and run there. We started our tour just on the other side of there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the southwest corner of this main section of the cemetery. Oh, let's take a moment to take a look at something here. I just happened to notice that we're seeing snail shell here, which means that this is from an Indian midden, and that they brought in shell for fill for some reason. A lot of obelisk shaped, sort of obelisk building shaped. A lot of stones like that in this part of the cemetery. There's another one that looks like some kind of scrolling something or another. That's a lot of rock right there, and that's marble there. And we've cut a lot of ones when we were looking at it with granite. John C. Stanley, February 18th, 1856 to January 15th, 1911. His memory is blessed. And he would have had to have a lot of money to get that much marble. And it's a combination of hard red looking marble. So I'm guessing he was a mason also. And when I say mason, I don't mean like he was a brick worker, but mason as in the Masonic aspects of being a mason. Here's a bunch of Osteens. Look at that name, Learned Osteen. Thomas Ellis Osteen. And the Osteen family, which I'm sure that these are associated with the Osteens of Osteen, Florida. Excuse me. Got a feather in my throat. So here we are, very close to the, oh, here's somebody that used Old Spice. And they've left some Old Spice bottles out here. Let's come down and take a look at what they are. Oh yeah. Plastic. And they still have Old Spice in it. And I think it's apropos if we give James a little Old Spice. There you go, James. People are still thinking about you, sir. Oh, here's an unusual one. Like what was this supposed to be? This looks like something that would hold a torch. Very unusual stone. So now we're heading for that one. You see there's probably a beam of light coming off the top of that stone. And that's where we're heading for next. Oh wow. I could smell that Old Spice all the way here. So we're heading right there. And we are heading to see one of the famous sites here. And this is the part of the site of our tour that is the Wizard, Lue Gim Gong, the citrus wizard. And for those of you who are not familiar with the name Lue Gim Gong, he was a Chinese immigrant that came to America via San Francisco in the 1870s, I believe, late 1870s, when he arrived and made his way to Massachusetts or New Hampshire, where he got involved in the shoe business, managing, and befriended a woman who had a sister that lived in DeLand, Florida. And so she invited him to come to Florida with her to stay with the sister. And Lue came to Florida, and this is at a time where Florida was experiencing its citrus boom. And he was able to change the industry by developing new types of citrus fruits. And he introduced our citrus industry to the grafting techniques that he had learned as a child in China, and brought those grafting techniques to the area. And I believe the Valencia orange is one of his creations. And we are only by that road out there where cars are going to be going by out there. Just about a 5-minute drive that way is where his orange groves were located. Originally they were not his, the property wasn't his, but it was left to him. And he resided in DeLand until 1925 when he passed away at the age of 65. So this is our wizard. And I want to thank everybody for joining me this beautiful 28th day of February 2025. on our tour of the Oakdale Cemetery. The Dragon and Wizard Tour. If you like our content, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Click that like button down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, a fantastic night, and a better tomorrow. Bye-bye.